Welcome back to Sports Talk with Tall and Small. So before the break, we mentioned that we were going to move on to some college basketball. A lot of teams are starting tournaments. NEC, Quinnipiac. We'll talk about them a little later, but tournament starts tonight for them. So we're going to start talking a little bit about who our favorites are, that type thing. Before we really get, to March Madness, this little pre-March Madness. So, Jordan, who's your favorite to win it all at this point? Well,
my favorite to win it all, I think it's, really a lot of people's. Right now they've been ranked number 1 in the country on a lot of polls. But Kentucky, I really just think they are the best team in the country right now. They have the best player in the country, and Anthony Davis plays tremendous defense. He's a power forward, but he can stretch the floor a little bit. He can shoot a little bit. And they've also beaten a lot of good teams. Number 11, Kansas. Number 5, North Carolina. Number 4, Louisville. And number 7, Florida.
Yeah, I think they've really showed that they're the best team in the country, and they're the favorites right now. Like you were saying, Anthony Davis, he's putting up 14 points a game, 10 boards, and the most impressive stat of all, 5 blocks a game.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He's already the leading...
and his field goal percentage is 65.8.
Yeah, it's one of the highest in the country. So he already leads... he already has the all-time program record in blocks, and he is only a freshman at Kentucky, which has a storied history. So he's an absolute force.
Yeah, he's a crazy good defender.
Yeah, and he's a kid that's really stepped up and really led this Wildcat team on the defensive side of the ball while also holding his own on the offense side. So he's really pushed them into the forefront, and like we both agree on, the team to beat at this point.
Yeah, behind him you also have Doron Lamb, Terrence Jones, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and then never count them out because John Calipari is their coach. He's one of the best coaches in the country in college basketball. You really just can never count them out. Then they have a ton of talent this year. Just a very deep team. Again, the best player in the country is Anthony Davis, and then a lot of great talent behind him.
Terrence Jones is a fantastic player as well. He's kind of getting lost in this whole Davis thing, but, he is not a guy that you want to forget about.
I don't think a lot of people expected Anthony Davis to become the player that he is right now.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody expected him to be the best player in the country.
I bet you John Calipari did, though. He recruits like no one's business. He brings in, NBA. He could field a good NBA team with the last 4 years.
A big criticism of him is that a lot of his players leave after their freshman year, but you know what? They're so good.
Yeah, and he said, I recruit kids and tell them I'm the best bet for you to get to the NBA. And he sells it well, and that's why he gets kids like John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, these guys that are, come in, dominate college basketball for a year, and then say, I'm going to take my talents to the NBA. Yeah. So moving on with college basketball, last year we saw some crazy upsets, VCU making the Final Four, and then people forget about Butler made the Final Four too, and no one believed that they could do that either. So at this point, Jordan, who's your Cinderella story of 2012?
I like the Cincinnati Bearcats. All right, right now they are 6th in the Big East. They have a 10. They might get like a 10 or 12 seed, but they've beaten a lot of good teams. They've beaten Georgetown, Notre Dame, UConn. I think they're going to be really dangerous in the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Long Beach State. I got the opportunity to see them play in person this year over Christmas break, and I walked away extremely impressed with them. Casper Ware, not many people know about this guy. He's the 5'10" point guard, and he can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, for a 5'10" point guard to cause problems, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he can burst onto the scene in the NCAA tournament, much like Stephon Curry did with Davidson, and really have his draft stock shoot through the roof. So, he's scary good. They also have a whole lot of experience, 4 seniors starting, and they've already played the likes of Kansas, North Carolina, Louisville, Xavier, and Pittsburgh in this year. And each of the games, they held their own to the wire, and they eventually won 2 of those 5 games. So I definitely look for them when the games roll around in a little more than 2 weeks to start pulling off some big upsets. I've already said I'm picking them to win their first game no matter who they're playing against. So I'd look for them to really burst on the scene. A team that not too many people know about, but they've started to gain some attention with all these wins that they've had. So moving on, we're going to talk about dark horse. Who's our dark horse? Who's someone, a little above Cinderella? Maybe they're a little more well-known, but they might not be expected to win at this point.
I'm going to go with the defending national champions, the UConn Huskies. Right now, ESPN's John Lunardi has them projected to be a 10 seed in the tournament. But look, again, they are the defending national champions. Jim Calhoun is a great coach. They got a lot of talent on this team. Jeremy Lamb, Shabazz Napier, Andre Drummond. Honestly, I just think you can never count this program out. They're historically just too good. Even though they're a 10 seed, I think they can really make a lot of noise in March Madness and make a run at the championship.
I'm gonna go with Indiana. They're number 20 in the country right now. They've had that huge win against Kentucky earlier this year. Kentucky's only loss. They've played really well in their conference against, a good Big Ten conference this year. Beat Ohio State. And then they have Michigan State they just beat 2 nights ago. And they're really led by Cody Zeller, freshman, Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana last year. He's really held his own. He's been a big part of their success this year, and I think that they can really make the push into the Final Four, pull off some upsets. I think they can take down a 1 seed when it comes around Sweet 16, Elite 8 time. So I'd look for them, but, there's other teams out there that can definitely make a run.
I mean, that's the beauty of March Madness. Anybody really can make a run at a championship. I mean, we've seen Butler 2 years in a row making huge runs at the getting to the national championship game 2 years in a row. Unfortunately, they lost both of them, but really great stories to watch. Now we're going to move on to our own school, the Quinnipiac Bobcats. Tonight they're starting their NEC tournament, playing the first game against St. Francis, New York. That game is going on right now. Do you have a score for us, Artie?
Yep, they are currently up 26-23 with, I'd say, about 5 minutes left in the first half or so. So we'll definitely look for them. A little more than 5 minutes, sorry. So, they're definitely a team that could make a run. So we'll talk about them a little right now, actually.
Mm-hmm. So now, I know that the game is already going on, but what is the key for them to winning this game tonight against St. Francis?
I think Usman Drame is the key to this game. He's put it together, and he has to put together an all-around performance for them tonight. James Johnson and Ike Azatame have proven that they can put up huge numbers against St. Francis in both games that they've played, but Usman in both games hasn't put together a complete effort. One game he had a good amount of points, not a lot of boards. One game he had a good amount of boards, but not enough points. So I think that they really need him to put it all together. I think he's going to push them over the hill and lead them to a victory. I haven't been watching the game. I don't know his stats as of now, but they're up 3. So I definitely look for him to have a big, complete game tonight in order to win. I
absolutely agree with you. I mean, we saw Usman in the last game against Robert Morris last Saturday. He had, I forgot, I think he had 11 points, and I think he had like 13 rebounds. He had like 5 offensive rebounds. He's really one of the keys to this team. Just his size, his presence inside, getting rebounds. He's just a very good player. He's a freshman, so he's going to be here for another 3 years. But he is a terrific player. They also need a lot of contributions out of a guy like Garvey Young, their first guy off the bench. He has also been playing well lately, and they need him really to spark that bench to come in and play well.
Absolutely.
And again, guys like James Johnson, a senior.
Yeah. You need to expect 15, 20 points out of him. So I know we're talking about the first round right now, but we're going to take a step back and look at the entire NEC tournament from Quinnipiac perspective. So who and what is the key for Quinnipiac to win the NEC tournament this year?
Well, I think the who has got to be James Johnson. I mean, he is a senior. He is the leader of this team. And I think that he has to go out there every night, and because of the amount of younger players, freshmen and sophomores, I think he's really got to go out there and lead them. Set an example by his play on the court and really show this is how you got to win these games. This is how you got to play. He's got to put up a lot, points every night. But I think he is one of the keys to winning the NEC tournament. But I think just the other key really is just, I think it's the key to really just winning basketball games in general. But they got to play great defense. And I think they will. I've seen this team play great defense, and I think they're going to throughout this tournament.
I wrote down the exact same answer to both as you. James Johnson is definitely the key to winning the tournament from a hoop perspective. They need that 15-plus points per game to give them the offense that they need. And then, they really need to rely on the defense, which is the what. When they play 40 minutes of hard defense, I don't know if LIU maybe can beat them, but it's very hard for another team in the NEC to beat them when they play 40 minutes of defense. Like you said, we've seen them play 40 minutes of defense, and it is a scary sight if you're the coach of the opposing team. So I think they need to put that together. They need to do that tonight, and they need to continue to do that in the next round if they want a shot at the big dance.